get asked this a lot, like, what is the one big challenge? And it's a little bit like saying to someone, like, what's your one big life goal or life problem? It's very hard to pinpoint one thing. You know, we live in an interconnected, dynamic, chaotic, beautiful mess of problems and opportunities. I think that the way we framed sustainability is one of the big problems that we have, because whether it be climate change or ocean plastic waste or pollution in general, we've used a fear and negativity narrative in order to disseminate this information. And a lot of the science on cognitive biases and the way humans engage with content demonstrates that when people are scared of things, they often disengage. So for me, one of the huge and significant and very fixable challenges that we face is the way in which we framed the concept of humans living within the Earth's natural systems, because you, me, and every single other person who exists on this planet has to breathe. We have to rely on nature to survive, and we have lost that concept. Like, we are totally disconnected from that. And I always say to people, like, if you don't believe me, hold your breath for longer than 60 seconds and see what happens. Thankfully, our brains have this, like, savior switch, which means that you can't actually kill yourself from holding your own breath. But so I think the way we frame sustainability, looking at it as an opportunity, not using fear-based mechanisms, and really then evolving this conversation about what it means to be a human alive today and what we need to be respectful and thankful for with the resources that we have left, and how we can design products and services to meet our needs without destroying more of the natural systems that we need.
No, suurin haaste tällä hetkellä on se, että meillä on tietenkin vain yksi maapallo. Ja maapallolla väestö kasvaa, se muuttaa, tarvitsee hyvää ruokaa, puhdasta vettä, puhdasta ilmaa, energiaa. Ja käytännössä saamme muuttuvan ilmaston, biodiversiteetti vähenee, ongelmia ruoan ja veden saannissa, energian saannissa, kemikalisoituu. Epidemiat liikkuu ympäri maapalloa ja happamoituminen lisääntyy, ja nämä kaikki liittyy toisiinsa. Näitä ei voi tavallaan ratkaista yksitellen. Tarvitaan tämmöistä integroivaa, holistista lähtökohtaa, ja ratkaisemiseen tarvitaan meitä kaikkia.
Well, even though environmental issues have been increasingly acknowledged, and there's even some political movement towards solutions of the greatest challenges, humanity is still consuming more and more natural resources and effecting more changes in ecological systems all over the world. So the basic direction towards the species extinction and the depletion of scarce natural resources hasn't changed, and that remains our key challenge, which is still basically untackled.
Tällä hetkellä ongelma on se, että me koetaan kovin pirstaleiseksi tämä maailma ja oma olemassaolokin. Me ei nähdä kytköksiä asioiden väleillä. Ja kun kytkökset häviää, niin silloin jotenkin me ollaan sumussa ja me ehkä luullaan turhan paljon. Ja nyt jos ne kytkökset tulisi näkyviksi, niin me löydettäisiin myöskin sellaisia kytköksiä, jotka antaa meille niin kuin ratkaisun paikkoja. Ja itse asiassa keskeisin kytkös on ehkä se, että se iso joki me kyllä nähdään, mutta me ei aina muisteta, että se tulee pienistä puroista. Ja mistä sen pienet purot tulee? Metsää satavista yksittäisistä pisaroista. Eli asiat muodostaa kokonaisuuksia, systeemeitä. Me liitytään erilaisiin systeemeihin joka päivä. Me tehdään joka päivä satoja pieniä valintoja tai suuria valintoja. Ne voi olla ratkaisuja tai ne voi olla ongelman pahentamisia. Ja se on ehkä nyt se sellainen systeemisen ymmärryksen puute, se keskeisin haaste tällä hetkellä. Ihan niin kuin kansalaisina ja myöskin yhteiskuntina. Että meidän politiikkakaan ei osaa oikein asettaa sellaisia sopivan yleviä päämääriä, vaan se on sellaista pirstaloitunutta välineellistä keskustelua sitten, se politiikkakin helposti, kun ei nähdä isompaa kuvaa.
The There's a lot of challenges to sustainability. What I think some of the biggest challenges are is the sustainability rhetoric right now focuses on consumer or individual action most strongly. And I don't think that to get really systematic transition in sustainability, that's the best place to focus. While I think that individual and consumer actions are important, I think we need a little bit more top down from the actual producers and processors. I think that they need to have a larger role in making sure that the products that are produced in a sustainable way, because, like, for example, a consumer can choose to use a water bottle instead of buying plastic bottles, which is great. But if there were no plastic bottles to buy, then wouldn't that be a larger step in the direction of sustainable transformation? So I don't think that it should all focus on solely individual choice. I also think that path dependency is a big challenge because everything happens so incrementally. So we get dependent on these paths, particularly capitalist paths. So we have these paths of development, and to really make a fundamental transformation, is incrementalism enough? I'm not sure it is.
I think the greatest challenge is the growth of heroic leadership view in the society, and especially in the media. First of all, the world is becoming more and more complex, and there is hardly any genius person, any leader in the world who could tell us the future and how to go there. And secondly, I think it's kind of dangerous thought that we will be led by one great man. Usually it's a man, or even if it's a woman. It will be dangerous thinking, because you never know what kind of values those people have, and how they would see the kind of future and sustainable future in the long run.
Minusta ehdottomasti se, että kuinka me saadaan ihan jokainen meidän asukas mukaan tähän toimintaan. Se, että kuinka yksittäinen ihminen ymmärtää, kuinka saadaan hänen asenne ja käyttäytyminen muuttumaan. Tietenkin sitten se koskee yhtä lailla, että kuinka saadaan yritykset muuttamaan toimintaansa ja oppilaitoksissa olevat opiskelijat ja niin edelleen. Toisaalta minusta se tuo helposti mahdollisuuksia tänne meidän kaupunkiin, että meillä on niitä opiskelijoita täällä valtavasti. Että nuoret yleensä on aika valmiita tekemään eri lailla kuin edeltävä sukupolvensa. Ja tästä syystä ehkä siellä on se meidän suurin potentiaali sitten näiden haasteiden ratkaisemiseen.
So of course that's a very broad question, and you could approach it at many different levels. I guess I would say, from my point of view, the problem of biodiversity, or if you like, the problem of constraining the space that the human footprint takes up on the planet, is the most difficult or challenging one. I mean, crudely put, we know how to do economic development, at least in the rich countries. Now, we don't know how maybe to untangle it all so that also the developing countries can, it's very uneven economic development. I think we have certain ideas about promoting social institutions and social equity. We don't always do it, but we have maybe some ideas. I think climate change is a manageable problem. Now everybody will scream at me and say, no, it's completely hopeless. Well, it's hopeless. It's too late to stop large-scale climate change because it's already happening. Could we achieve a society that is essentially decarbonized? Yes, I think we could. And with technology that either we have or is easily kind of foreseeable. So in that sense, I think climate change is manageable, though of course there will have to be an adaptation, and I'm not saying that it won't cause enormous costs and hardships. But the problem of species extinction, of the pressure on the global biosphere, is much more difficult, because almost every environmental problem you can think of is in some way pressing on the biosphere and pushing towards the simplification of ecosystems and the destruction of species. So climate change is, of course, itself, but many other issues, the nitrogen problem, many other plastics, chemicals, acid rain, you can just go on and on down the list. And the fact is that over time there are more of us, and our production systems are using more resources and harvesting more biological resources, using more non-renewable resources, and putting out increasing amounts of waste. And here, how do we control the whole, or the big picture? I could just give you think about the HE targets on biodiversity, which basically says that we should stop losses to critical ecosystems by 2020. We are not going to meet that target. Don't actually think of any practical way that this target could be met. Could we meet it by 2030, 2040, 2050? I don't know. Is that the way we should define biodiversity targets? This opens up a whole other debate. But for me, that is in some ways the truly big problem, and it relates directly to the issue of environmental limits.